What is up, my friend? Welcome to episode number 56, all about pricing strategies and how to price your services. Now, in this episode, I'm bringing on one of my past clients named Shontaye Hawkins, who's an expert at seeing through the numbers and helping people increase their bottom line profits. So if you're ready to identify and eliminate your own money leaks, if you have any, and find the keys to really achieve growth and profit, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Anthony John Amix Podcast, the one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is Anthony John Amix. My friends call me AJ, and my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
All right, welcome back. I'm really looking forward to bringing Shontaye onto the podcast today because I know she has so much wisdom to share with you. I mean, she's a bottom line strategist, and she uses her extensive finance background and her ability to be able to help someone align with the truth of the numbers. And in that aligning with the truth, she can help them see and find some of the money leaks that are going on and then plug those things up so someone can see mega big results inside their business. Shontaye has worked for Fortune 500 companies such as Goldman Sachs and the Bank of New York. She's also worked with other industry leaders like Grant and Thornton. She's passionate about encouraging entrepreneurs to reach their full potential and build successful, more profitable futures starting now, today. And she'll totally inspire and empower you to move beyond your world of dreaming for a better life to actually demanding it and making it happen. She's 100% committed to helping you unlock the success that you imagine. And when she's not helping her clients create massive growth and profits, then you're going to find her in her running shoes, training for another half marathon, probably reading a good book, or maybe just spending some time with her family and friends. Now, speaking of massive growth and increased profits, I'm gearing up to host a brand new training series in July to walk you through the ancient secrets that are altering people's lives and businesses for a massively positive, wonderful way. Over the past 12 weeks, I've been quietly guiding 37 people through the timeless principles, the scientific truths, and the spiritual experiences that are unlocking this whole new level of freedom and purpose and success in their lives. I have seen people have their first $10,000 plus month. I have seen people who were on a 4-month dry spell when it comes to closing actually start closing deals. I've seen other people who were making millions of dollars a year, but inside they were depressed and unhappy because they were terrified of losing it all. I've seen those people find the deep motivation to dream again and reignite the fire deep within their heart. I've seen other people just sharpen their edge to continue having that 1% advantage over their rivals. And I've been just stunned and blown away by their results. So I've decided to host a brand new free training in July to pull back the curtains to what has been helping these types of people blow open the doors to fully embodying their potential and stepping into a new level of power to create these huge, wonderful, amazing results while feeling like they're standing in a place of purpose and power for living. So if you want to be one of the first people to know about this free online training that will take place, that is totally proven to unlock a whole new level of success for someone and break through any invisible ceiling that seems to be holding someone back, simply go to ajamix.com/waitlist to sign up. It's 100% free to join the waitlist. And when I do go live to start publicly promoting this training, I know it's going to be crazy. So you don't want to miss it. So make sure you go to ajamix.com/waitlist to join that waitlist now. Now, one of the reasons I'm so excited to bring Shontaye to you today to talk about pricing strategies is because I talk with so many business owners who get caught up in the game of making more money, yet they're really not watching their bottom line. And one of the things that I really want to encourage you to look at is increasing your business's performance. Now, this means I want you to figure out how can you increase the output of your business while reducing the input of going into the business. And Shontaye is a master at this. So with that being said, let's bring Shontaye onto the podcast. Shontaye, what up? Welcome to the podcast.
Oh my God, AJ. I'm so excited to be here with you. You know, I'm this is going to be so much fun.
I'm excited to have you here because it's been, I think, a hot minute since we've had a conversation. I think for me, it feels like 5 years have passed. I know it hasn't been that long. It's only been 6, 7 months, 8 months, something like that. But it does seem like forever. I don't know if it's just me or not.
Yeah, it does feel like it's been a while, but I'm excited about this conversation because I know we're going to have a good time today.
Now, I remember when we started working together, I had you come in for a 1-day intensive, and I took you out into like the middle of Addison in this big ass field in the middle of nowhere to do this whole process that I call I don't give a fuck. So I'm just kind of curious, how did that process change your life?
I'm still using it.
So good. So
I
good.
still use it. I used it probably about 72 hours ago. Yeah. So
Nice.
it really has, I'm kind of speechless about it, right? Because it's how do you describe it, and how do you describe the impact and really the transformation that it has really occurred in my life as a result of that. And I can just tell you that I'm still using those strategies and some of those tools that that you took me through out in the middle of nowhere where I didn't really know, like, if I scream for help, is anyone going to hear me? How far are the police from here? But it really has been that experience really, like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, like, why did it take 20, something years for me to get to this point? But like, it would have saved me so much time before, AJ, but no, it's been so powerful. Those strategies, I still use a lot of those things on a daily basis, without even knowing it, right? Like, it's just, when you're really intentional about stepping in to your true power and your core power and staying there, right? It's like you're not negotiating this for
Right.
any. So you sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying I don't have days where I'm like, okay,
Of
just
course. We all do.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
just like being more aware of that really does make a big difference.
Awesome. Now, how's that like changed the game for you when it comes to like pricing your services? Like what impact has
So,
that had on pricing?
like, for me, AJ, I think, before, like, our us working together, I think I was probably feeling like, okay, if they said no, or okay, maybe I should have lowered it, or maybe I should have done, like, it's like, what could I have done, right, to get them to like me, right?
Mm,
And I think that what I found in that process myself, and then I started to realize this is probably very true for many small business owners, is that they attach, like, they attach approval to their pricing, right? So if it's this, right, then they'll like me. And if it's too high, they're probably going to reject it. And we're trying to navigate this. We're trying to figure out someone else's ability to pay, and we're attaching it to something that it really shouldn't be attached to. Our worth. People don't pay us what we're worth, AJ. They pay us what we ask for.
so good. So good. So
Right? I mean,
good.
like, I realize that, and it's like, people aren't paying me what I'm worth. They're paying me what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
And really, the starting point with pricing is mindset. Like, if you don't think that you can charge more, you're right. And no one's going to pay you more because you're not asking for more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you start to say, you know what, if you really understand the transformation, the benefits of what you do and what you bring to the table, then you can stand there and you can clearly articulate what it costs to work with you, what that transformation is going to look like. And you say it, and they say yes or no, and you're not attached to the outcome. They say yes, great, let's get this party started. If they say no, then you keep it moving.
So good. So good. Now, today we're going to get like super dive deep into how about pricing. We're going to deep dive on pricing strategies. But before we get into that stuff, I want to like dig down into how you got started. Like I know you used to work with Goldman Sachs. You raised like $1 billion with a B amount of dollars for them.
Yes.
But you weren't like born into numbers and finance and all of this. So what led you into the game of mastering this whole numbers game and finance and pricing?
AJ, I like to say, I really started my business when I was a kid. My dad and my uncles, I grew up around entrepreneurs. Like, from a very young girl, I saw entrepreneurship. And little by little, right? Over time, I just really started to develop this love for numbers and for math. Like I'm a girl that, when you're a senior in high school, you're a junior and senior year in high school, where you have like a couple of electives and everybody else is taking like art, or they're taking like, these easy electives, right? I'm doing like trigonometry and, all of these analytical geometry, all these advanced math classes. And so, I just have always had this love for numbers and math. And, my journey through corporate America, with some of the largest investment banking firms and some of the largest Fortune 500 companies around, took me into environments where I was, working with CFOs and CEOs and helping them make real decisions about what do we do? Like, do we have enough in the budget to do this? Right. And I think over time, AJ, you start to, a lot of people always ask me questions about, I was a resource, right? For my family, for my friends.
Yeah.
And they would ask me questions. What do you think about this? Should I do this? And I would just rattle off things. It was just so natural. And even to the point of I was helping friends and even family members like negotiate higher salaries in their companies. And so little by little, I started to go down this path of entrepreneurship and discovering that I really had this passion for helping service-based entrepreneurs build profitable businesses.
Awesome. And why do you think it's important for these service-based professionals, these business owners, to pay attention to their bottom line? Like, why is it important for them to do that?
Well, if you're not paying attention to the bottom line, how do you know what, like, so I'll put it this way. Bottom line, let's define that, right? Because some people go, bottom line, what are you talking about? So bottom line is profit. And here's the thing about profit. The more profits you generate in your business, the more options, choices, and impact you'll have, not only in your life and the lives of your loved ones, but also in the lives of your clients. Because the more profit you're making, the more you're able to pass that on to them. It's a ripple effect. It impacts your community. It impacts your home, right? And then it goes into the home of your client. So it extends beyond anything that we can measure, but it's important to understand how much profit you're generating. So many people run away from the numbers, AJ, because they're like, someone in school or a teacher, someone told them they should never do anything without a calculator. Right? So they have just decided, you know what? I'm not good with math. I'm not good with numbers. But honestly, I don't know how you make decisions in your business without understanding how much profit you're generating.
Yeah, I would totally agree. But I'm curious, why do you think they don't look at the numbers? I know they could adopt an identity of I'm not a numbers person. I think it's bullshit. Everybody can look at numbers. So it's a deeper thing, I assume. So why aren't these people willing to look at their numbers?
They're afraid of what's not going to be there.
Yeah.
People are afraid that they're behind, right? So they're looking outside of themselves, maybe comparing themselves to someone they see on social media who's, whatever, they're traveling the world and they're on the beach and working from wherever they want to. And not that that's something that they can't do, but how you can do that if you begin to understand what's your starting point and what does it take for me to get there. But a lot of people won't look at the numbers, AJ, for fear of being behind. But how do you get ahead? How do you get ahead? And how do you change your reality if you don't know where you are?
You can't. You got to align with the truth. I preach this all the time. Like, you can't get anywhere if we don't align with the truth. And this, as you're talking about, this is like aligning with the truth of where we're at with our numbers. Where are we at with our profits? Where are we at with our numbers?
Where are you at with your sales? How many clients how many people, how many contracts do you need to sign? How many people do you need to bring into your business to afford this lifestyle that you decided that you want, right? If you want to take a trip once a month or whatever that looks like, how much is that going to cost you? How many additional clients do you need to bring in? And maybe you don't need to bring in any additional clients. Maybe it's actually, you should start with your pricing, which is what we're talking about today, right?
Yeah.
Because this is one thing I'll mention is that sometimes it's not so much that you need to bring in more clients to generate more profit, especially if you're spending money at a rate faster than it's coming in.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to look at.
So what are some of those pricing strategies? Kind of leads us down this path then. So like what are some of these pricing strategies? Because I feel like it's like a foreign concept for a lot of people, because most people are addicted to, I need leads, I need sales, grow, 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 scale, 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 team, team, team. So
Mm-hmm.
what are pricing strategies?
So the first thing that I would say is understand that pricing is all about mindset. So like what we've kind of been talking about this already is like,
Yep.
look at your numbers, get comfortable. Like, here's one thing, a very simple, easy strategy that anyone can start doing like today. If you're not already doing this, start doing this. Open your bank account, all of them. Log in each and every morning to see where you are. Get comfortable looking at the numbers. Understand, okay, all right, that we have there, that's what we got here. But starting to really ingrain in your mind that's where I should start making decisions from. Do I have the income coming in to be able to do X, right? Do I have enough money coming in to build a team, to run this many Facebook ads? So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say, AJ, is understand how much it's costing you to be in business. How much does it cost you to be in business? You really can't set your prices without understanding that it costs you $2,500 or $3,500 or $5,000 to run your business monthly. Now, here's the other thing about pricing. So let me say this. How are you aligning your brand in the market? And what I mean by that is, are you Walmart? So are you a discount volume player, or are you Gucci, right? So luxury, because that will determine your pricing. Who are you looking to serve, right? So if you're looking to serve that person who's looking for the affordability, right? They're the affordable shopper, the value shopper. If that's where you're positioning yourself, then you got to make sure your prices are aligned there. Here's another part of that, AJ. So we were talking about understanding their expenses, right? So
Yep.
when you understand your expenses, here's one key expense that I find like most small business owners exclude, and that's paying themselves. They have all of their contractors listed out, right? Like all of their freelancers, their graphic designers, their web designers, their funnel builder, their Facebook ads person, their website development team. They have all of these systems. They have, their email autoresponder. They got all this list of all of these expenses. And they're making sure that those things are being paid, and they're not considering themselves. You're leaving paying yourself to chance. Like, if I have enough left over, then I'll take a little bit, right?
Sure.
No. How do you build a profitable business? How do you price your services so you guarantee profit? First of all, you include your profit in the price, and you include paying yourself in the price.
Hmm. Have you found when people just, they create the spreadsheet, they put in the expenses, they put in their salary, they put in the profit, they can see the total number. I would assume, because I've experienced this, I'm curious because you're the expert here. Just seeing that number, does it somehow subconsciously set a bar that allows somebody to kind of hit that number a lot more consistently?
Yeah, like when like I need to bring in, like, so you're thinking, okay, roughly $3,500 is what it's costing me to run my business a month, right? Well, when you really look at those numbers and add in your profit and add in the amount that you want to pay yourself, you go, okay, like I'm already bringing in $5,000. I'm already bringing in $50,000, right, on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm much closer. This is the thing, AJ. I have clients, I have, business owners that come to me and they're like, Shontaye, I want to hit 6 figures for the first time, or I want to hit this number. And I'm like, okay, so let's look at where you are. So you're at, let's say they want to get to 100,000, right? So they're at 75K. And to get to 100,000, you need to bring in 8333 a month. So we just do some math, right? And I don't know what the numbers off the top of my head, but they're literally, AJ, sometimes only with like one client away.
Awesome.
Like one client away. Like if you bring in one more client a month, you're going to be at your goal. But what we were talking about is the fear, right? People have
Yep.
this fear of numbers. They won't, like, it's a number, right? Like I've seen so many numbers, right? Like billions of billions of dollars. So I have no judgment. Like sometimes I'll ask people, how much money are you making currently in your business? And they'll say, only, you know, fit like whatever, $2,500 or only $8,000. And I'm like, listen, I have no judgment about any numbers because it's just a number. It's the starting point. If once we know what it is, we can build on it and get to the next level.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so many people place their own internal intrinsic value as a human being on the number. And then as a result, they then create this fear, and then they don't want to look at the number, and they're like, oh, I'm not a numbers person. And then they're
Yes.
using this identity of I'm not a numbers person to avoid the responsibility of really stepping into their greatest potential and having responsibility to actually hit the number. And they're just kind of living in this loop of fear, which doesn't serve anybody. I want to circle back a bit to the brand thing of like whether somebody's Gucci or whether somebody's Walmart. And I think a lot of people make a mistake here because their ego is like, oh, I want to be Gucci. I want to be the Ferrari. I want to be right. So how would you advise somebody to position themselves in the market? Because there's no right or wrong. And again, our ego, I think for the majority of humans is going to want to be Gucci, right? But if we can kind of connect to our soul, we may or we may not want to be Gucci. And there's no wrong or right. It's just like what wants to come through us and express. So how do you handle that when people are battling like, yeah, of course, I want to be the highest person and da 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 da. And if that's true for them, fantastic. But it's okay to be the Walmart too and just serve a whole bunch of people if that's what you want to do. So what would you tell that person?
I really say trust your gut.
Yeah.
Like it's really like sometimes we really have to remove ourselves from all of the social media, right? Distractions, right? Because who's running Facebook ads? That's the Gucci brands. Like not all of them, but like if you're sitting back and you're not running Facebook ads, the people who are running Facebook ads to you, you're going to think they're the Gucci brands, right? You're going to think that these are the rock stars of their industries. And sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. But here's the thing. We sometimes need to remove the distractions. Like one of the things that, you and I have talked about this and I do it a lot, meditating and like getting so quiet and listening to that quiet, still voice that tells you exactly what path you're supposed to take and who you're supposed to serve. If your people are the volume and the value shoppers, then you be the very best provider in that space. If you are the mid-tier, right? Be the very best because you stepping in and really showing up as the person and as the business owner, as the leader in your space is going to attract the people who are intended to be in your space and work with you. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you're showing, because here's the thing, the people in your space, you're going to show up as Gucci to them.
Yep.
Right?
Totally. 100%. 100%.
Even if you are the value provider, right? If you are, essentially your brand is more positioned as the Walmart, and being positioned as Walmart doesn't mean that you're broke, doesn't mean that you're cheap. It just means you have more, you focus on volume, right? And you could still be the absolute best of the companies in that area and in that lane.
Awesome. So I'm curious. So if somebody knows their expenses, they know their salary and on all of that and profit, how do they really go about figuring out what they're going to price for their services?
So AJ, we're talking a little bit about branding right now and aligning. One of the things that we need to really understand is who are we serving?
Perfect.
Because if you're positioning yourself in the market as the Walmart, right? And you go price yourself as Gucci and you're thinking, man, what's the problem here? They're not buying. Well, there's confusion in how you're showing up, right? And your prices. So people are like, well, they show up as Walmart, right? But the prices don't align. So that confusion, people may not necessarily be able to articulate it, but that is why the income isn't coming in, because of the misalignment. Once you really step in and like we were talking about, getting clear and understanding who you want to serve, you really need to understand that ideal client. Like, how much money are they making? What can they afford? What are they paying for? How do they value this type of service? What would they pay for something like this? And when you understand some of these elements when it comes to pricing, you start to look at, okay, and obviously, you can do surveys. You can survey your market and ask the questions. Now, that doesn't mean that when they say, oh, I would only pay $1,500 for this, or I would pay no more than $5,000 for this, that you don't put it out there at that point. You make some decisions and say, okay, let's see, let's test it. I think this is one thing, AJ, with pricing, it's okay to test. You can have some additional strategies. Like, so sometimes when I'm testing a price, right? There are certain things that I'll put into the package to determine, is this price too high, too low? Is this right on the money, right? So we add in bonuses. We add in different things, right? That someone's going to get from this service and in this package. Not just, okay, here's what you're going to get. We talk about the transformation. Like for me, I can tell someone, hey, within 30 days, I can help you double your revenue. Well, geez. So like, if it's going to cost you $5,000 or $10,000 and you're like, well, okay, I'm making $20,000 a month right now. And you're telling me in 30 days, right? I could be making 40. That's a small drop in the bucket. Sure. It's a small drop in the bucket. Yeah. And if I can, AJ, I want to talk about, I want to share something about pricing language.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we're talking about, especially with the brand piece, right? Your brand positioning. And so it's really important you understand your pricing language and pricing language. So say, for example, you want to sell something, but you really don't want to lower the price of it, right? It's like it's already at the point in which you're like, this is the best, right? I don't want to offer it at lower than this. So a way that you can kind of, I'll say, trick the market a little bit is just simply use the word sale in your messaging. You don't have to lower it. I mean, we see this all the time. If you pay attention in the stores, in the retail stores, and even online, wherever you're shopping, they do this all the time. Sometimes they'll say sale, and you're like, wait a minute, that was higher. That's higher than it was last week, right? Or they'll bundle it, right? So they'll bundle it a different kind of way, and you're like, well, wait a minute. When I bought it individually, I got a better deal. So using the word sale. If you are positioning yourself as a Gucci, right? I say don't use the word discount, because that diminishes the value of your brand. Like I really don't care where you probably really are on the spectrum, if you're a Walmart or a Gucci brand. The word discount just really diminishes the value of what you're providing and the transformation that you're bringing to the market. So using words like exclusive, right? That right away, the sound of that is it increases the value of what you're bringing to the market. So words like exclusive, discount, sale, be careful about how you're using them. And the word free, like the word free, be careful of when you're using that. If you're putting things into a package, show people the value of those individual items so they understand, wow, I'm getting like $10,000 in value here and I'm only paying $2,500 or $5,000, whatever that number is. But this is all of it's psychology, right? It's pricing psychology, right? Yeah. It's like it helps people make this decision because they're going, oh my God, I'm getting like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 worth of stuff for only $5,000.
Yeah. And what you're talking about is like just the psychology, the persuasion, the psychology of influence, psychology of persuasion. And a lot of people, I think, they're like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be like that. Like it's the game. If you don't like the game, don't be in business. Like this is part of the game of sales. This is the game of marketing. And if you don't want to play the game, that's cool. Go play a different game. But this like influence and persuasion is part of the game. You know, it'd be like saying you want to play football, since, you know, we're talking about like, you know, sports here in America. So it'd be like, you want to play football, but you don't want to go tackle anybody. You just want to, I don't know, just give them a hug. You're probably in the wrong sport. You probably want to go like to the hugging championship league or something. You know what I mean? If you're going to play football and excel, you got to smash somebody. And it's just part of the game. You know what I mean?
It is.
So
And
I'm
it's
glad
not
that you're bringing it up.
manipulation. I think people think it's manipulative, and it's like they use the word salesy, right? It's like, I don't want to be salesy. Well, do you want to be broke? Like, I mean, it's not about here's the thing. It's about what you attach to the story, right?
Totally.
So it's what you're attaching to. What does that mean for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're afraid to sell, like you're saying, AJ, like you're playing the wrong game.
Yeah. I've learned like it's investment in equals commitment out. So typically speaking, the more somebody invests into something, and again, you have to look at like the offer and all of these things that you do that come into pricing something. But typically speaking, the more somebody invests into something, the higher level of commitment that they have that they're going to follow through and do the thing. I mean, think about online courses. You could sell a $97 course. Nothing wrong with selling a $97 course. But the commitment level for somebody who pays $97 for a course is a lot lower than somebody paying $3,000 for the course, or $5,000 or $10,000 if the course holds the transformational results worthy of the $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 price point, right? Because not all courses are created equal. Some do actually hold the transformation of that type of investment. So I'm kind of curious, circling back here, when you're offer stacking, what is there a rule, like a 10x rule, a 5x rule, where you're like, you know, the value of this should be 10x typically of what you're going to price at, or the transformation should be 2x, 3x, 10x of whatever you're charging? Is there any type of, you know, principle to follow there?
You know, AJ, when like I don't have like a solid, like, okay, here's the formula, right? But typically when you're doing your value stack, when you're adding in these elements to, and the bonuses and the other tools and resources that you're going to provide in this package, I like to look at a 5x, right, to a 10x.
Perfect.
And I then, like, you can make some adjustments there. And so, like, maybe your offer initially, you know, one of the things you might want to do is have the law of scarcity, right? So how many is there a number limit? So you're only offering so many of these at a certain price point, right? Or is this only available till a certain time, right? Like for the next 24 hours or for the next 2 days, whatever that looks like. So that scarcity feeling, people are like, wait a minute, right? I need to jump on this because I know the price is going up at this point in time, or it's the cart's going to close. This is not going to be available anymore. Another thing to think about is, okay, so yes, I'm adding in this 5x or 10x, right, in my value stack, but does that stay? Do you keep all of those elements in there but maybe in the beginning, right? Maybe you put 10x at the very beginning. So people who are taking action right now, right, within the next 24 hours before, you know, midnight, maybe the next 12 hours, they're going to get this additional element. And then you pull that element out. Maybe it is not a part of the offer in 24 hours and 48 hours, right? So you still have a lot of value in the package, right? Yep. But people aren't getting 10x, right? They're getting 5x. So they're still getting a lot for what they're paying for. So these are just, it's a test, right? If we could just approach, like, there's so much in, like, business is really, marketing is a test. Your pricing is a test. If you could really get to a point of not being so attached. I think too many people attach themselves to the results, right? And really determining, right, that's who I am. If no one buys, then it had something to do with me. No, go back out there and test it a different way. Like, look at it. What did you put in this time? Like, did people open your email? Did people show up to your webinar? What point did they fall off the webinar? Or like, what happened? Look at the results before you start like beating yourself. Don't even beat yourself up, first of all. Like, don't do that, because you can test that thing like 2 million different ways to get the results that
You know, I think a lot of people come into this game. I'm just going to stay with this analogy, this illustration. We'll stay with football. And they come into the game because they want to win the Super Bowl. So they approach their marketing, they approach their pricing, they approach their sales of like, okay, this is my first season in the NFL. My goal is to be a Super Bowl champion. And if they don't win the Super Bowl that year, they quit, because they then make a decision of like, well, I guess I'm not a good football player. I guess I wasn't meant for this. I guess this isn't God's timing for my life. We could use that one.
Not my season. It's not my season.
Yeah, not my season. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna go do something different. Or they're gonna go choose to play a different game. Now they're gonna come play soccer. And not only are they playing for, the MLS or the Premier League, but they're actually in the World Cup. And they're like, this is my first season playing the World Cup. And we're going to win the most prestigious trophy in all of soccer or football, whichever you like to call it, depending on what culture you're from. And the thing is the only way the greats win the Super Bowl or they win the World Cup is they just enjoy the game. Like, do they lose some games? Yeah, they lose some games. Did they win some games? Absolutely. Do they want to win every game? Yeah, of course they do. But their worth and their intrinsic value, they've learned from a mindset, and also from, I would say, a body set, an internal feeling level, that their value as a player, their value as a human is not attached to the outcome of the game, yet they still set the intention to win because they enjoy the feedback of like, we're winning, we're headed towards our goal of winning the Super Bowl or winning the World Cup. And I've learned the game of business and marketing and sales and pricing is really no different. Like, if we can get into a space of playing the game for the love of the game, setting the intention that we want to win and we will win, we will become Super Bowl champions. It's only a matter of time. And we just enjoy putting in the work and playing the game. It becomes a lot more fun. And results actually flow forth from that space.
Yeah. Like, if you're not having fun, you're really kind of in this kind of, space of forcing, right?
Exactly.
And it's a space where it doesn't really feel good, right? So you're not attracting a lot of good, or you're not feeling good. So it's hard to attract good if you're not feeling good. But if you can have fun, right? You can get out there, you can get up every day, you go into your office and you're like, hey, let's play this game. Like, I'm here, and you're excited about it. Opportunities will show up for you, right? Yeah. You'll have a sale, or you'll have someone reach back out to you that you're like, it was 2 years ago last time I spoke to this person, right? And here's the thing, showing up every day, no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. Doesn't matter, but show up every day for your people, for the people in the stands, right? Whether they're clapping and cheering or not, you show up and you keep putting your message out there and you keep putting your content out there. Because I can tell you, I know what it feels like when you're like, okay, I sent an email, no one, like, they opened, but no one said anything back, right? Or you put a post out, or you put a video, whatever you put out there, you put an offer out there, no one buys. And you're like, well, like, let me double check and make sure that all of the links work, because like, I don't know why they wouldn't. This is right. And so you're like beating yourself up. And instead of just saying, you know what, some people, like, let's look at the results. What happened when we put this out here? Did we have some scarcity in here? Did we communicate? Like, you have to tell people what to do, AJ, right? Like, you can't just tell them like, here's the deal. And they're like, great, that's a great deal. But you got to tell them, like, go to my website or inbox me, or you have to tell people what the next step is, because we are getting so many messages, right? a lot of us are on our cell phones like all day, because like you get text messages, you get phone calls, etc. So if you put your offer out and you send someone an email and you're like, I sent one email, AJ, we're in the game. We step into the arena. We come in there, right? We like run one play. That's one email, maybe one Facebook Live, whatever you want to call it, whatever your mode of marketing is. You do it one time and no one buys. And then you say it didn't work. Podcasts don't work. Facebook ads don't work. I've ran an ad, it didn't work. Nobody bought, nobody clicked, nobody, whatever you say, right? I sent an email and no one bought. Okay, so I'll be honest. If you send me an email, it depends on the time of day. I may or may not see it, first of all. So if you only are sending one email, there's no guarantee that it's going to get delivered to my inbox. So maybe 3 days later, when I finally decide to look at spam, your message is in there. And I might have wanted your offer, but you only sent it once. And you didn't do a Facebook Live. You didn't try to reach me a lot of different ways, right? So when you're playing football, and I'm a football fan, right? So I know that these guys are in there, like these coaches have multiple plays that they are running, right? They're trying to figure out where the breakdown is in the defense, right? So they're playing the other team, like, where's the breakdown? Okay, that's their weak side. Let's work their weak side until they see, oh my God, they're working our weak side over, right? We've already scored like 4 touchdowns now, right?
So good. What a great illustration.
You have to have multiple strategies. I think, AJ, there's a stat out like the marketing rule of 7. And I'm sure it's much higher now, but it says people need to see your offer at least 7 times. At least 7 times before they start to pay attention.
Yep.
So one email isn't going to cut it.
Awesome.
One email isn't going to cut it. Like, you need to have multiple ways of getting in front of your people. Whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's chat bots, whether it's multiple emails, text messages. Do you know, like, this is crazy, stats on text messages, right? So they say 96% of text messages are opened and responded to.
Crazy.
You want to get your offer bought? You want to get your offer in front of people? Figure out how to get your people's phone numbers and text message them.
Now, what mistakes do you see business owners making when it comes to pricing their services? Like, we've talked about some strategies, but let's go to the mistake side. What mistakes are you seeing them make?
Oh, AJ, they get caught in that story. Like when you get on that call with people, right? I used to do this, so I know. I would get on a call with potential clients, and they'd start telling me this story about their husband's not working, their baby is home from school, blah, blah, blah. Their baby is going to college for the first time this year. They've been trying to build this business and things aren't working. There's this story. And I'm sitting there, right? And we're sitting there, you're going, man, they're not going to be able to afford this. So you start scaling back before they've even told you what their budget is, right? Or any of those things. Before you've even started to talk numbers, you're getting caught in the story and then creating a package or basing your prices based on what this person is telling, like this story.
Yep. So what I'm hearing you say is somebody is taking their own limiting beliefs with money, and then they're projecting their own limiting beliefs and probably typically the way that they buy and the way that they're coming into being sold, and then projecting that onto their ideal person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And we talked about one of the other mistakes a little while ago is not including your salary. What is it that you want to pay yourself? They're not including that. And so here's the thing. Don't be a CVO. That's a chief volunteer officers, right? Chief volunteer officers, they love it. Like they got all the offers. They do all the marketing. They love everything about business, but they're not getting paid. CEOs get paid. What CEO do you know right now, right? That's not bringing home something, whether it's monthly, weekly, whatever their pay cycle is, right? But they're getting paid. So don't be a chief volunteer officer. That's a CVO. Those people have businesses, but they're not getting paid. So one thing that we talked about is don't get caught up in the story. Don't be a CVO. And another thing is don't leave don't leave it to chance, right? Look at your numbers. And we've kind of talked about this a little while ago, but look at the numbers. Understand, okay, are people responding to a certain price point more than they're responding to another? If so, what kind of adjustments? What adjustments should we make, right? Here's another don't, right? Don't base your pricing off of what your competition's charging. Here's one of the things I see sometimes. People are like, okay, like if they can find someone's pricing on their website, they're like, okay, I'm a web designer. They're charging $3,500 for websites. I'm going to charge $3,000. Because the people that can't afford their services, they're going to come to me and pay $3,000 and then I'll have all the business, right? Well, here's the thing. You don't know what it takes to run their business, right? So the operational structure that's generating profit for them may not generate profit for you. So you go in and you cut your prices, or you say, you know what, I'm going to charge $3,000. Now, guess what? Your bottom line is in the red.
Yeah. And not only that, somebody else could come into the marketplace and be like, oh, they're charging $3,000. I'm going to charge $2,500. And then somebody else comes in the market, like maybe it's the three players, like, oh, well, they're charging $25. I'm charging $2. And then, yeah, you can never win when you're just basing this stuff off of pricing.
Yeah, you have to really understand the results and the benefits and the transformation of what people, how their lives, how their businesses are impacted when they work with you. Because that's what really separates you from somebody else in the market. Like your unique experiences, the results you've created, right? Like, yes, there's, life coaches out there. There's health coaches out there. There's business coaches. There's, Burger Kings and burger joints and coffee shops and tea shops and all this type of stuff. But what makes you unique? What makes you stand out? Right? Why is someone going to choose you versus choosing someone else? And that's your unique story. That's your unique voice. Like, yes, there's like, you know what, AJ, there's profit has one formula. It's revenue less expenses. That's what profit is, right? So how do I make profit different? Right? I'll tell you. One of the things that people say to me all the time is, oh my God, you make this so easy to understand. I really understood that. Like, but how many people do you know in the market who helped raise over $1 billion? Right? How many people do you know that really understands numbers and can stand behind the fact that, you know what, yes, I can help you double your revenue. I'm not going to guarantee that because I can't guarantee that you'll do the work, but I can guarantee that if you're doing the work, we're going to get some results.
Awesome. Quick question.
Yes.
If somebody was going to launch a brand new offer, where would you tell them to start to figure out how to price it correctly?
Brand new offer. So, I like when I'm doing a brand new offer, I like to test it out a little bit. So if you have an email list, maybe before you because here's the thing, this is one thing I don't want you to do is don't go through and build out the whole course. Right? You've wasted 2 weeks of your time and you're not getting paid for that. But if you have an email community or if you have a Facebook community, 2 great places to test before you create. So I always like to tell my clients, I tell business owners, sell it first, then create it. So what that means is craft a post, draft an email about this offer and tell us about the transformation and put a price point out there that you have some knowledge and information around. Okay, this is where I want to price it. A lot of people know what they want to charge, AJ, but they're attaching their value and their worth to this price point, right? So they're like, No, I'm gonna, like, I want to make it easy for them to say yes, right? I want them to like me. So, but take that number that you have in mind, put the win, like put the transformation, stack up the transformation. What are the people going to walk away with? If this is a 6-week program, if this is, I don't know, 30-day program, what is someone in 30 days, how different is their life and business going to be? Draft that email, draft that post, put it out there and tell people, hey, if you're interested, if you have a link that you want them to, send you a message back or whatever it is, right? I'm only taking 5 people. I'm only taking 10 people. That's how you start to test. You have conversations with them. You can even run like on Messenger, right? You can have a chat bot that's chatting with people. You put an offer out there and let them come back to you and ask a few questions. So it's market research, it's testing. Now, now here's what happens. When someone says, yes, how do I buy? Or they click the link and they buy, now you're on the hook to create that thing. So get paid to create it, but don't go create it. That's one thing I see way too many people doing, right? It's
Yep.
they are creating this course, and it takes them, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months to create this course, or they create it and no one buys.
Yep. Yeah, we just did that with one of our products. We launched a beta version and we have 37 people going through beta right now. And then we're just co-creating with them. Like, of course, we knew like where we're taking them and we had our outlined and all of that.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like knowing it's actually, most people don't know this. You actually create a better product by co-creating it with a beta experience, because you can start seeing your ideas, like if they're working, if you're falling short somewhere. Like every single week we ask our people, in fact, we force them to complete a form before they can unlock the next content. That way we can take that advice and then roll their feedback into making the next week better and the next week better and the next week better, and then going back and even buttoning up stuff that we had done. And I had a client of mine too in a software business. They just kind of launched like basic minimal viable product. But then based upon the feedback from the customers were giving them new features to add to the product. Based upon all the customer support stuff coming through customer support, because they document everything, they would see all of the common threads. And then they would take those answers that they're answering with their customer support people and go back into the website, and probably seen those little icons with the little eyes where if you hover over it, kind of gives you information.
Yes.
And they started adding that into the back end of their website for the users once they logged in, and that reduced their customer support by like 70%.
Wow.
They would have never have thought of that.
Wow.
Like our brain, we're not, we're pretty smart, but we're not that smart. And so part of it is like jumping off the cliff with the beta experience or with your clients, and then just asking for feedback. And as a result, that's where you can get better and better and better, because people love to give you feedback. They love to see you win. They love to help you make things better and help them get results faster. So ask, man. It's so good.
Yeah. And people will jump into a beta because they know it's an opportunity for them to learn, but also, get in on a product or service, right, at a price point that, and maybe you're offering lifetime access to them, right? So you come into beta, you're going to have access to this thing for lifetime.
Yep.
Why not? Right? And those will be your cheerleaders. Those are going to be your ambassadors for that program. So if you run ads or when you put it back out there, they're going to tell other people like, oh my God, when he or she offers this next time, you better jump on this because this thing is like rocking. I'm killing the game. My revenue is doubling, or I'm losing weight, or whatever that transformation is that you're promising and providing through that product or service. Make sure like beta is a great way to go, AJ, for sure.
Awesome. So I'm gonna throw you a curveball here. So if you could go back in time and give your younger self some wisdom that would help her collapse like time, get results faster, what would you tell her?
Oh my God, do it afraid, like absolutely do it afraid, and stick with the IDAGF. Use that and employ that into your life on a daily basis.
And for those of you who don't know what that means, it means I don't give a fuck. I'll just go ahead and tell you.
So use that, because sometimes, I'll just speak like for me, I know I've slowed down because I was too concerned with what other people thought, right? And are they going to like me? What are they going to think of me? What are they going to say, right? And so sometimes we just tread lightly instead of making that big splash and really jumping into the puddle. We kind of just go around it, right? Because we don't want to make a mess. I say make a mess right away, course correct, and keep it going.
Perfect. Now, if somebody takes your advice, they listen to your wisdom, they implement it, what do you know is possible for them?
Oh my gosh. So we talked that we're saying more profit, but when we talk about profit, I want everybody to understand it's not just the number. There is really this freedom and impact and success and happiness that really just comes from that. When you reach this point in time of like, okay, I can charge this number and people are going to pay me for it. And being able to do that, guess what? I got more time to spend with my family. I have more time to travel. I can really begin to, maybe I wanted to create a scholarship. Maybe I wanted to create a grant. Now I can really do that because I understand that who I am and what I do, the more people I serve, the more money I make. And how do I make more money? Really stepping into my true power.
So good.
And knowing that who I am and what I do is not attached to that number. So I want everybody to understand, like, if you don't take anything away from this talk, the one thing I want you to remember is that people don't pay you what you're worth. They pay you what you ask for.
So good. If you guys want to learn more about Shontaye, let's go to profitisthenewblack.com. You also do a thing where you can help somebody find like where they're leaking money and come up with a strategy and all of that. If they want more of that, to book that time with you or whatever, I think it's makemoreprofitsession.com. Is that right?
Yes, makemoreprofitsession.com. If anyone wants to have a private conversation with me, let's talk a little bit about your business. Where are you stuck, right? And I can help you identify the next and best strategy to increase your profit and double your revenue.
Awesome. I would highly recommend anybody listening, take her up on that. Go to makemoreprofitsession.com, book time, talk with her. Shontaye, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate you.
And thank you so much, AJ. This was awesome.
Well, there you have it, my friend, Shontaye Hawkins, virtually in the building. This was like a solid episode. I love the synergy, and I feel like we just covered some amazing strategies to help you price your services in a way that's going to increase your bottom line if you implement some of the stuff we talked about. Now, remember, the game isn't about how much money you make. It's about how much money you actually keep. And over the years, I had totally forgotten about that. And I've been riding my own ship and paying attention to my bottom line, and I'd highly encourage you to do the same. And I remember one of my clients, Jody Holland, you may remember him from episode number 8, telling a story about how he started paying attention to his bottom line. And when he did, he actually made a lot less gross money. But the thing that happened is he increased the amount of money that he took home by like $100,000 or something like that. I mean, it was really significant. So I hope you'll take what Shontaye shared with you today to heart and implement some of the things that she shared. And again, some of these things were simple to do, simple not to do, and that's usually the good stuff. I also want you to remember that I'm on Instagram posting all kinds of wonderful stuff that's going to help you break through to a whole new level of freedom, purpose, and success. So you can find me over on Instagram at AJ Amix. So check that out when you're done with this podcast. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you because I know that you could be listening to any other podcast that you want, yet you've decided to listen to this one. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so darn much. I hope you have an amazing day, an afternoon, night, whatever time it is that you're listening to this episode. So until next time, my friend, I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Amix podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajamix.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.